Coming up first, though, here's a gift-giving tip for you. Think twice before buying a present for a casual acquaintance, especially if that person is Asian. And if you do insist on giving them, don't be surprised if they reject it right in front of you.
That is the revelation of a newly published study that explored the cultural differences in gift giving. Dr. Fang Wan is with the University of Manitoba, and she's also the author of the study, and she joins us now. Hi, Dr. Wan.
Hello, Marcy.
So can we start with you? You're an Asian Canadian yourself, I understand. What makes you think that Asians have a different attitude about gift giving?
Well, I think the study started when we were chatting, and both co-authors, one of them is an Asian like myself, another one is Americans. So we're talking about their experience of going back to China and to see people fighting for bills, when you have dinner or have lunch and people are fighting for, pick up in the tab. So, and also when I go to China, every time I have to stop by, the gift store, especially at Vancouver airport, so I have to buy a lot of gifts. So we talk about our culture that you go there gifting, and when it's holidays and people are just so kind of burdened sometimes by the task of buying a lot of things. So we're talking about whether there is a culture difference, especially in Asia, in terms of whether people are more likely to accept a gift because the gifting culture seems to be just so salient in that culture, not just holidays, just on a daily basis.
Silly in what way? Like, why is it silly?
Exactly. So that's why when we started study, our hypothesis was that maybe Asians are more prone to this culture, the gift culture, the reciprocation, and that's why they're more likely to accept a gift. Therefore, they're more likely to give a gift. So there is a nonstop cycle. That's really how we started the study. But the result was totally counterintuitive. What we found was Asians are more likely to accept a small gift or the gift in the form of small favor sometimes. For example, when we go to a bar or when we go to a store, when I say, can I buy you a drink? Or when we go share a taxi ride, I say, can I pick up the tab? So these kind of small things, and Asians are more likely to say no. And the study, we did 8 studies actually, and every study...
Can we just stop there for a second? Why would they say no?
So that's why we dig further and we did more studies. And our theory is when Asians are encountering a gift, the first thing came to their mind is actually whether I can later reciprocate this favor, or I can reciprocate. If I can reciprocate, and then I would be more willing to accept the gift. If I can't, then I would say no.
So the pressure to give back, is there in that culture.
Right. Yes.
So you can't receive a gift without giving one back?
Yeah, you cannot receive a gift if you don't have a chance to reciprocate, to give it back. So that's why in cognitive psychology, there is some research showing that Asians are more likely to think along 2 times, like think along the longer time orientation. So when you have a gift, which is at time 1, they automatically think about what they could do at time 2. So this time 1 action lead to time 2 consequence. It's automatically ringing in their mind. Well, North Americans, when they accept a gift, they're more thinking just at this time how I'm going to appreciate that and whether the gift is, just for me, this person likes me, and that's why I accept the gift. So their thinking is more short-term oriented rather than integrating 2-time perspective.
So if somebody who's of Asian descent in your study, when you look, gets a gift from someone that they don't know, how do they handle it? You said sometimes they would actually refuse the gift.
They would refuse a gift, and they would use other, for example, they would counter offer. And I think in the study, the setting that our study was conducted, it's really more about, for example, we go to a restaurant and we have lunch together, whether you pick up the tab. So when you offered me to buy this, to pick up the tab, I would counter offer. Well, I would say, it's okay, I'll do it, thank you. But so they won't really reject. So that's really the context of our study.
Who could this information be helpful for? Like, could a business business owner with, I don't know, an Asian client use
I
this?
think this is based on the so-called culture, the so different kind of reciprocation norm. So we actually had experience when we travel, and basically, for example, when you have this cross-cultural communication, Asians try to overgift. So they go to a Canadian family where they try to buy something for them. They tend to buy something that is a little bit more extraordinary, and then they actually would hope that to get this reciprocation, the gift that they get later may be equivalent to what they're giving at time one. So I think that the reciprocation norm is really more equity-based and also ongoing process. Yet North Americans tend to think about it as a single kind of shot, action. So they appreciate that, but they may not have the strong urge to reciprocate, and therefore you have a different match between the expectation and also the action. So I think that could be problematic.
So just last to be clear, you're talking in your study mostly about who you looked at within like the Asian cultures, not necessarily Asian Canadians, like not people living here now, right?
Biculture. You're talking about bicultural people who have both cultural experiences.
Even here in Canada, would people still hold that view?
I think when you think about the studies, you're right. The Asians are either they're from Hong Kong, or they're actually some of the subjects where the respondents that are included in our studies are the Chinese students studying in Canada, but still, they're not here long enough. But when you talk about someone, for example, myself, or some the second generation Chinese, born in Canada, and I think they have bicultural values. So, and cross-cultural theory is saying that for these kind of people, how they react is purely based on the context, whether that the context triggers one set of value versus another. For example, when they are, with their family for a while and speak Chinese, even language itself can trigger cultural values. So the context where they're in can trigger either Canadian or Chinese culture.
Or behavior.
That will make them, exactly.
Their
that
behavior
will
changes.
affect their behaviors.
That's
exactly.
very interesting. We'll have to leave it there for now. Thank you for your time this morning.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. You too.
The University of Manitoba's Dr. Fang Wan is with the Asper School of Business. Very interesting.